Have you ever noticed how some of the most powerful stories, even really simple ones, all seem to follow a kind of secret blueprint? Well, today, we're going to uncover that blueprint by breaking down a children's story. Let's see how a tale about one tiny firefly can actually show us the universal structure of pretty much every hero's journey ever told.
So, let's start with the big question. What truly makes a hero? Is it about being the strongest, the biggest, or is it something else entirely? You know, the story we're diving into today, The Little Light That Saved the Day, gives us a pretty awesome answer.
All right, so every hero's journey kicks off in what's known as the ordinary world. This is just life as usual, right before something goes completely wrong. And in our story, in Animal Funland, that ordinary world gets shattered the second the sun goes down.
And there it is, the inciting incident. The one thing everyone, and I mean everyone, relies on, the big nightlight, it just fails. And this isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a huge disruption to their entire world. Suddenly, you have a major conflict that affects the whole community.
This moment right here, this is what immediately establishes the stakes. You've got Elephant, one of the biggest and strongest animals, voicing the core fear of the entire community. The problem is crystal clear and totally universal. Losing the light means losing safety.
And then Duck chimes in, and this just ramps up the emotional impact. It's not just about the practical problem of darkness anymore. Now it's about the fear that's spreading. This is what turns a simple problem into a full-blown emotional crisis, and that's exactly when you need a hero to step up. And this, of course, is where our hero enters the picture. Storytellers call this stage the call to adventure. It's that moment when a totally unlikely character has to make a choice, and, as we're about to see, it's usually followed by another key step, meeting the mentor.
I mean, just look at this slide. It perfectly lays out the story's central tension. On one side, you have this massive, overwhelming problem, total darkness and fear. And on the other side, the solution seems impossibly small, almost insignificant. It's that classic David and Goliath setup, right? And it makes you immediately start rooting for the underdog.
And there it is, the acceptance of the call. Our firefly knows its own limitation, I'm very small, but it doesn't use that as an excuse to do nothing. That one phrase, but maybe I can help, that is the absolute defining moment of courage. It's the simple choice to act, no matter the odds. And that's where heroism really begins.
You know, every hero needs a mentor, someone to give him that little push. And this is that meeting the mentor moment. Rabbit's simple words, "Every light matters," are the exact piece of encouragement the firefly needed to hear. It's not some grand epic speech. It's just a quiet little bit of validation that gives our hero the confidence to go for it.
Okay, so in the next stage of the journey, often called tests, allies, and enemies, we see things start to build. Because, let's be real, a hero almost never succeeds all on their own. This part of the story is all about gathering allies and seeing how one small action can inspire a whole movement.
Just look at this incredible chain reaction. The firefly's one brave act is like a beacon in the dark. It doesn't solve the problem by itself, but it inspires others to join in. This is such a great example of how leadership isn't always about shouting orders. Sometimes it's just about having the courage to be the first one to act.
And here we have the climax of their struggle. The darkness, the main villain of the story really, is finally defeated. But check out the wording here. The forest isn't just lit up again, it's beautiful. The solution they all created together is actually even better than what they had before. So now we get to the reward. This is that awesome moment when the community gets to take a breath, look at what they've accomplished, and really understand the true impact of our hero's journey.
Elephant's line here just brings the whole story full circle. Remember, he was the first one to voice the community's big fear. And now, he's the one who points out exactly what started their success, that single, small light. This completely validates everything the firefly did.
And Duck's exclamation? It just hammers home the story's other huge theme, the power of community. The real reward wasn't just getting rid of the darkness. It was them realizing that their collective strength, their teamwork, is so much greater than any one of them could be alone.
So what's the big takeaway? What's the lasting lesson here? Well, the final part of any great hero's journey is all about bringing the elixir, that's the wisdom you've gained, back to the world to create some real, permanent change. This is such a powerful moment. Storytellers call it the resurrection. The old solution, the big nightlight, it finally comes back. But it's totally obsolete now. The community has discovered a new, better way to do things.
They've been permanently changed by this whole experience, and they don't have to depend on that old system anymore. That right there is the real victory.
And here is the elixir, laid out for us as a clear set of lessons. This is what's known as the return with the elixir. The wisdom they gained isn't just about one little firefly. It's a universal truth that applies to all of us. Courage really is contagious, and together we are always, always stronger.
So, at the end of the day, this simple little story reveals a profound truth about what it means to be a hero. It's not about being the biggest or the strongest. It's simply about having the courage to be the first one to step up and help. Which, of course, leaves us with one final question to think about. Where in your world can your small light make the biggest difference?